mad dragon that had my mother off my side. They were four fans, so bloody obnoxious, but full of dragon's pride.
It's the story of the great Jesse Godfrey with Vicky Coco and Mr. Rob. Never Jesse's crew, so fierce and passionate, and the red face shine true. Till the one day when Johnny met young Jesse, and they knew
It was much more than a hug.
that his group would form a fiery podcast.
That's how we jumped up that dragon's back. That dragon's back. That dragon's back. That's the way we became the Mad Dragons. Come on, Dragons fans! Fire up!
Well, g'day Dragons fans and welcome to the Mad Dragons podcast brought to you by Complete Warehouse Solutions, a family-owned and operated business with more than 100 years of combined experience. Stephanie's team are more than pleased to assist in your Sydney warehouse refurbishment or fit-out project. Based on Commerce Drive in Lake Illawarra, get in touch with the team on 4257 1930. Can we please go back to the pre-season and recapture some of that positivity that surrounded this team? We seemed willing to ignore the squad limitations, but after back-to-back losses, it's all anyone can see. But is it all doom and gloom? Is there some positivity? I think there is. But once again, we lose and some fans want to change the entire team. But the truth is, we didn't actually do a whole lot wrong. We completed it over 80%. We made over 50 metres per set of six. We had 13 offloads to one. We only missed 18 tackles the entire game compared to 31. And we scored 5 tries to 4. We should have won that game easily. Yes, our game management left a lot to be desired, but credit where it's due, and I hate doing this, but Souths were very resilient. They did well to hang in there, and they dead set stole one they didn't deserve. Now, normally, at this point, I'd do some sort of clumsy segue into heroes and villains, but today, Hasman's been bumped down the order as we've got a very special guest on tonight. We've got Dragons legend Matt Cooper. Coops, welcome to the show, mate. Thanks for joining us.
Nah, my pleasure, mate. My pleasure. That intro was unreal, and you've lived up to that Mad Dragon name. Awesome.
It's definitely something a bit different, that's for sure. All right, before we get into fawning all over the great man, let's introduce the rest of the panel. We've got with us tonight. We've got the Men-Eye Dragon, Jesse and Hasman, who will all be firing some questions at you, Coops. But before we do get into your own storied career, I know you're first and foremost a massive Dragons fan. What have been some of your observations through the opening 2 rounds?
Look, to me, if you want to look at the positives first, I think our attack's looking really good with Gufferson at the back at fullback. He brings that passing game that I think we've lacked in the last few years with Sloan at fullback. I don't think Sloan has got that passing game where he can set up the tries like Guffo did yesterday. But flip it around, the negative, it's got to be our defence. I think our defensively we're being poor in these first 2 games, which is a shame. We've let 28 points in, 25 points in. We can score the tries. We've got to keep them out.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something. I mean, obviously you were famous for your defence, Coops, and I'm sure there'll be a few questions from the panel about that. Now, I am the host, but I've got to tell you, I've got absolutely no idea what's going to happen. I don't know what this group of peanuts is going to ask you, so I apologise in advance.
It's all right. It's called the Mad Dragon for a reason, mate.
All right. Well, each panel member will get a question, and then maybe we'll do another lap if we've got some time. But and hopefully they're all listening to your answers and the questions, so you don't get the same question twice. But I'll start with Hasman. What's your question for Coops?
Yeah. So now, Coops, you were part of the 09 team that made it to the semis and went out in straight sets. You're also in the 2010 side that beat the living daylights out of the Roosters to get the Dragons' only post joint venture premiership. Now, what were the takeaways from 09 that helped the team go all the way the following year?
Okay, good question. So 2009 was, obviously Wayne's first year at the club, and pre-season was really tough. We trained really hard that pre-season, and all the way through the year, we didn't have many, much time off. So when we got to the finals, we were sort of burnt out, and Wayne and the coaching staff and our head trainer, that's pretty much what they came up with. That was, their takeaways of that season, and you could see it. And obviously, me playing in that, those two semi-finals, we were tired, and it was because of, the pre-season we done, and obviously the lack of time off through the year. So Wayne being Wayne, the super coach, that next pre-season wasn't as tough. We got, a lot of breaks through that season, and as you're well aware, we came up with the goods in 2010, which, was great. We were confident. We were confident in 2009, but we were just too tired. Our legs were drained, mentally we're drained, and it was a shame because that was probably one we led away, and just like back in 05 and 06, we could have got there as well, but we got there in 2010, so that made up for it.
Yeah, awesome.
Certainly put a big smile on a lot of Dragons' faces, breaking that that long drought, 31-year drought.
Yes, I was born in '79, so that was the last time the Dragons had one. So that was the drought, and it was good. It was such a relief winning that grand final because I like I said, I was part of the the 05, 06 era where we should have won a comp, with the players we had. In 2005, I think we had 9 players in the New South Wales team. So, we should have won that year, and that's when we got the the infamous choker tag, and it wasn't good, being known as chokers. I remember when after the 2005 game, we all the Dragons boys who were on the tour, we jumped on the bus. I think it was Stevie Walters. He was on the bus and he's like, "Oh, here they come, the chokers! Here they come!" So so 2010 was a big relief. We trained so hard to get there, and it was something special. And I've got the ring on. I've got it for everyone.
You.
Yeah, it's been in my safe. It was in my safe for like 8 years, and then I was like, I see all the NFL players. They, when they commentate, they're wearing all their rings, and I started wearing my rings to promotions and speaking gigs and stuff like that, and seeing how much joy it brought to the fans when they actually seen the ring, I was like, it's pointless being a safe. I'm going to wear it, and let the supporters see it, because it brings a big smile on the fans' faces when they see that ring.
Not wrong, mate. As soon as I saw it, it put a smile on my dial, and I love the word you use there, relief, because I remember 2010, and that was sort of my overwhelming emotion. Is just so relieved that we finally did it. And I at no stage in that game was I relaxing and feeling like we had it in the bag, because I've been there so many times before.
Yeah, well, getting back to that year, that game against the Tigers to get into the grand final. After that game, that was the turning point. After we won that game and were actually in the grand final, we knew we were going to win. We were so confident that we were going to win that game. It was just that hurdle that we hadn't crossed to get into the grand final. And once we won that game, I remember as soon as that siren went in that West Tigers game in 2010, the relief just went away, and we were so confident going into that game.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, I don't know what Jesse's question's going to be, but we'll throw over to Jag for your question, mate.
All right, I'll see which one I've got. Hang on.
Oh, I'm in the background there.
You remember that photo, Coops? You remember that?
Yeah, I do, mate. I do.
They had a Christmas party. Remember they had the Christmas party for the members?
Yeah.
That was back when you won
I reckon
the
that was 2010.
Yeah,
because it was sponsored by Reebok. I remember, and the Sunnies too. I've still got them. What's your question, buddy?
All right, my question. So yeah, it's regarding that famous tackle. That famous tackle you made on Chris McQueen, I think it was the premiership
Chris
year.
McQueen.
It's still got views on highlights reels. Talk us through how that tackle is. That probably your most memorable tackle of your career? Would you say?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's funny you should mention that. I was at a function on Friday, and someone sent me a text message, and it was that photo. It was a photo of that tackle because we're playing Souths this week. That was very special. At the time, I didn't really know what I'd done. I was just, putting my body on the line, making a tackle, as I normally do, and it wasn't till I actually seen the highlights and hearing the commentators and when I heard and seen that, I knew it was something special. It was just, for me, it was just, business as usual, putting my body on the line and, making desperate tackles. And, it's something, I was obviously I'm proud of, and, obviously the fans enjoy it. I've shown my girls, they enjoyed it. But yeah, everywhere I go, I get that that conversation comes up. It's I think it's stuck in a lot of people's memories, that tackle.
Yeah, I remember you no one would ever get past you. You were probably the best defensive centre I've ever seen, Coops. No doubt.
Thanks, mate. 100%. I appreciate that. It's it was something I always prided myself on in the games was, my defence. Because, if you look at the game, if they don't score, they don't win. And I think that's lost a bit these days, in just not in the Dragons, but just in NRL in general. I feel like, the players are like, if they score, we'll score again. Where when we played, my era, if they didn't score, they didn't win, and that's the attitude we had. And I think it's lost a little bit in the NRL these days. The scores are a lot higher. It's not uncommon to see a 50 to 40 score. Back in the day, if a side put 40 on you, even 30, it was a flogging. These days it's just not. It's a normal game. So a lot of emphasis is on scoring tries these days rather than saving tries. So I think we need to get back to that attitude, and you can tell in the game yesterday. It's just some of the easy tries that they just let in, and that just comes down to effort and hunger and just putting your body on the line. So I don't think it's a Dragons problem. It's just a NRL problem.
Yeah, you certainly see it a lot more nowadays where a team will score 30 and lose the game.
Yeah, that's right. Even yesterday, we were up 24-10, I think we were, or especially at Wynn Stadium, full crowd. It was disappointing to see, the Dragons let South back in the game and eventually win it.
Coops,
So,
would you think about it if you got offered by Flano, mate? I know he got ET at Cronulla when he was coaching there. They'll help out with the defence. Mate, I look at you like ET, mate. Two of the best defensive centres, in that period when ET was playing, you were playing. Would you contemplate going back to St George and helping him out with the defence?
mate, I'd love to. Yeah, I've actually I did speak to Flano when he first got the job, and I let him know that I'm keen if he needs me. So I would love to get back there because, as you know, defence was a big part of my game, and I feel like I could help the young guys out with my experience, and I actually desperately want to get back in there. Actually,
love to see him.
Hopefully next year.
Fingers crossed, mate.
Fingers crossed. Hopefully, I might be back in there next year or the year after. But like I said, I'm keen. I want to get in there. I want to help those young guys out because edge of the fence, it's not difficult when you know what you're doing, and if everyone does the same thing and everyone's talking, it's pretty easy. But these days, like I said, most of the tries are scored in the corners, and when I watch games, I get really frustrated because the defense out wide is, it's not like it used to be. So I'd love to get back in there, boys.
Just a bit of a follow-up on that. Big T's put the question in the chat a couple of times, asking if you're coaching anywhere else, any junior clubs, or are you involved in the game in some other way?
Not really. I'm just involved with my daughter. She plays under 14s tackle this year. I did coach her team 3 years ago, under 12s league tag. We made the grand final, but unfortunately we lost in the grand final. But I enjoyed it. I really did. When I first retired, I didn't really want to get back into. I didn't want to get back into footy because I want to be weekends. I played footy I played footy for 30 years straight, and I hadn't had a year off, and I want to be weekends. And and my girls were only young, so I got to spend a lot of time with my girls when I retired, which was great. But at the age I'm at now, I would really love to get back into coaching, especially at the Dragons, because I feel like I could make a difference, and I would love to.
Awesome. All right. We might, Rob. I know you chucked a question in there, but we'll throw over for your official question, mate. What have you got for Coach?
Apologies, but I just couldn't help myself. Sorry.
That's all right, mate.
No,
It's got a two-part
a good question, mate.
Thanks, mate. No, I look forward to you, mate, helping out one day at the Dragons. As a junior player, did you have a player you looked up to and liked to follow? And then the second part, the best player you played with against when playing for St George Illawarra, or in obviously rec footy Origin as well too.
As a kid, I had a few players that I looked up to. Probably number one was Brad Fittler. I loved his left foot step, and that was something I really tried to imitate. And that's where I got my left foot step from, was watching Freddie. I remember, everywhere I'd go, I'd be practicing my left foot step just like Freddie. He was a big part of my childhood, and also I used to go for the Magpies. So the McGuinness brothers, big Kenny McGuinness. Yeah, Kenny McGuinness, Kevy McGuinness. I used to love watching those guys play. They were so talented, and I love watching them play. Getting back, what was the second question? Who was the best player?
Best player you had
played with?
Played against, or with and against Georgia Laura, and in reps as well.
Yeah, all right. This one's pretty easy. I'd have to say Joey Johns. I got to play with Joey in Origin and in the Australian team as well. He was just ahead of his time. He was just such a freak when it came to natural ability, knowledge of the game, being able to know where the gaps were, where the openings were, how to draw players in so they'd make a mistake defensively. He had everything going for him. And then once I actually played with him and seen him train, it just made me appreciate the talent he is even more. And I remember the 2005 Origin series. It was 1-1. We're coming into the decider, and Joey was injured, and I think we had Trent and Bray Finasta, I think, in the halves. And the first couple of days of training, we were terrible. Our ball work just was shocking. Ricky Stewart was, I'm pretty sure it was Ricky who was coaching. It was terrible. Our attack was so bad. And then Joey came out of retirement, I think it was. I think he retired from rep footy that year. But he was injured for the first 2 games. And he came back to training. I think it was like on the Friday. Soon as he turned up, we started ball work, and everything just changed. The whole
clicked.
It just went from trash to magic. It was just he just turned up and it was so good. It was like, he was just such a good player, and he just made the team click. And then we went out there and we won the decider, which was up in Suncorp, and that was the game. That was the game everyone was talking about last year. So that was the last decider that we won. New South Wales had won at Suncorp. Was that 2005 game 3 until last year.
20 years ago.
Yes. So he was a special player, and yeah, he's just got a footy mind. He's just got that brain of his is always ticking. As you know, as a commentator, you know, I love listening to him when he commentates because he knows exactly, you know, what players are thinking when they're doing this, doing that. Yeah, he's a magical player.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. Well, my question might be a little bit more controversial, I think, but we'll go with it and see how we go. But,
Yeah, fire away, mate. Fire away.
2010 Premiership reunion, and you were a notable absentee. You tweeted about it at the time. That was an official and a player that you blamed for your non-attendance, and you sort of indicated then that there was a story to be told, and you'd tell at the appropriate time. Has the appropriate time arrived for you to tell the tale?
Not if I want to get back at the Dragons and try and coach. Look, you know, yeah, when I retired from footy, you know, there was a few promises made to me, and they weren't honoured, and which, you know, led to a falling out between a certain person and myself, and that was the issue, and then there was a player who actually didn't even play in the grand final, but he was a part of the squad in 2010. We had a bit of a falling out over something, which is, you know, I don't really want to say. I think it's not probably appropriate to say and name the person because, you know, it was in the past. I'll let the past be the past, and like I said, you know, I want to get back into the Dragons and I want to help out. I want to be part of that club. It's a special club, especially for me. You know, I played my whole career there. I sacrificed a lot for that club. You know, I pulled out of, you know, country representative games so I could play for the Dragons that weekend. And, you know, I used to cop a lot of flack for that off certain people in the country rugby league, but, you know, I did it for the Red V, and so yeah, you know, my heart and soul and is at the Dragons. So yeah, so I want those, you know, what happened when I retired and the relationships that yeah, I just want those mended because, like I said, I want to get back to the Dragons because, like I said, it's, you know, it was a massive part of my life, and you know, I truly want to get back in there and help these young players. I think I can, and so you know, I don't want to bring all that stuff up because if I do, it's probably going to hurt my chances of getting back in there. So I'm going to let bygones be bygones, boys.
Yeah,
yeah. But at the time, it was it affected me really bad because, like I said, I was promised something and it wasn't delivered, and it pretty much changed my life for a few years, and it sent me down a pretty dark place mentally. So, but you know, I'm great now. I've got 2 beautiful daughters, and you know, I'm loving life. I've got a great company called Crew Capital. If any of the fans out there are looking to buy property or they need finance, they want to set up a self-managed super fund to buy property, go to the Instagram page and all the details are there. So that's just a bit of a plug for me for my business. But yeah, so like I said, I'd love to be part of the Dragons again because you know, a lot of fans, every time I see a Dragons fans, they just like you said before, they're like, when are you getting back in the Dragons? We need you back in the Dragons. We want you back. Why don't you come back and play? You know, these are the conversations I have daily. It's not a one-off. This is it's a daily thing. When it, you know, we've got so many fans out there. I run into a fan every day, and they say the same thing. So
maybe why you back? You're a bloody Dragons legend. We need like I said, like ET. Come on.
Yeah, mate, I love ET.
You can do it, man. Come on.
Yeah. Getting back to like the question you asked too before about the players I looked up to. ET was one of those guys. I'm good friends with ET. He's a champion bloke, and yeah, he means a lot, you know, to the Sharks, and I feel like you know, I'm the ET of the Dragons. So
100% agree.
That sort of works into my next question. The ET of the Dragons, because you were twice voted the sexiest man in rugby league. How do you
it was 3 times, mate.
Oh,
it was 3 times.
Jesus,
get it right, Donnie.
Mate, they had to like cancel the actual competition because I kept winning it. So I think they brought it back. They brought it back when I retired.
I'm 55 years old, mate. My wife found out you're on tonight. She got excited, mate. She loved ET. Likes you too, mate.
Yeah, I was listening. Coops, I was listening to a SEN a few weeks ago, and they were talking about who'd be the best looking ghost on the calendar, and they said if there was a retro run, you'd be the first one on it.
There you go.
Sure. Thanks, mate.
I don't know how he feels about being called retro, but
no, because current players, they were looking at current players, and then the retired players. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's great. No, it's quite funny. We had me and Wendell had a when Wendell came to the club, you know, he's a big character, and me and Wendell got on really well. We were roomies when he came to the club, so and he won sexiest man in league before I came into the competition. So we had this running joke between the two of us, you know, SMLs, SML brothers. But I was 3 times. He was only 1 time.
Well, mate, back in the Tina Turner days, mate, with
mate,
ET was up there. They even had Laurie Daly, mate, in the shower. Laurie Daly in the shower.
Yeah, those short shorts. They need to bring those back.
Well, those
were classics, those ones.
I promised we wouldn't keep you too much longer than half an hour. So
you're all right, mate. You're all right. You couple more questions if you want.
Couple more.
Yeah.
We'll go back to the top. We'll do another lap and go back to
we'll do one more lap.
You got
Yeah.
another question for Coops, mate?
No, I think I threw the only
Come, mate.
question at you that I actually prepared.
Okay. Well, we might go to Jesse then, because I know Jesse's got about 55 of them written down.
I'll cut a few out. So there's first of all, I'm going to go to one that's come up a lot. Halftime in the grand final. Saw this documentary a couple of years ago. It said Wayne didn't say much at halftime. He said, "You're not playing like the Dragons." What did he say that really irked you on in that second half when the Roosters had you down 8-6 in the grand final?
All right, I'll put this to rest. All right, so we came into halftime and we as a team were so confident because the Roosters had so much possession, especially on our try line, and we didn't have much ball. We didn't have any good field position, but we knew we had them and we were so confident. But the biggest thing was, you remember our left side, all right? Our left side was the try-scoring side. You know, we had Darius Boyd out the back, me and Brett Morris. Between the three of us, or Benny Craig hitting that lead, we just play that wedge play. We'd score all the time. And that was our, you know, that was our bread and butter, you know, for 2009, 2010, even 2011. And if we did it properly, we pretty much scored every time. And what the Roosters did in that first half is they stacked their right side. So they put an extra player on our left side. So every time we got the ball, we got shut down because they had an extra player. So I came into halftime and I said to Wayne, Wayne, they're stacking our side. And he goes, yeah, I can see it, Matt, from upstairs. So what did we do in the second half? We go, right, Jason Nightingale scored 2-3 tries. Gaz scored a try, you know. So that was pretty much all Wayne said. He was just like, boys, they're stacking the left side. Let's attack the right, and just do what we normally do. And but he didn't need to say much because we were so confident. We knew we were only two points down, and we hadn't had the ball. They'd had all the ball on our try line, and you know, once we got to that point where, you know, there was only 7 minutes to go and there was no way they could win, that was the best 7 minutes of my life. just knowing that we couldn't get beat, and it was such a good feeling. And you know, I know all the fans loved it because when we got back to Cogra that night, geez, it was a celebration. It was a celebration because, like you said, it was a drought, 31 years. It's a long time, especially for a club like the Red V, you know. So, yeah, it's a big club, and you know,
want to get back there, Coops.
We want to get back there, and I think the new CEO is going to do a great job. I'm excited to see what he brings to the club. Yeah, I think we've got good things coming. You know, obviously we haven't started well this year, but I think we're just lacking a few players up front, forward pack wise, and maybe a star player. So I think next year we need to get that checkbook out and sign a couple of, you know, 2 big players. I think that's what we need because
I think we also need to get the checkbook book out and sign the best
Yeah.
defensive to ever play the game. So.
yes, we should. Definitely should.
I used to have a saying I used a lot during 2010 about that left side in attack. I'd say it all the time. Just because you know it's coming doesn't mean you can stop it. The amount of times everyone knew it was coming.
Yeah, I'll tell you a good story. So we're playing Brisbane at Wynn Stadium, and we put on the play. We put our standard play on, and I scored. And I'm walking back after I score, and I bump into Hodjo. And like me and Hodjo were good friends, you know. He never sledged me, I never sledged him. We're good friends on the field. He came up to me and he goes, "F you, Coops." He goes, "All we did all week was defend that one play all week. That's all we did." And we scored. So, like you said, that was just, that play was unstoppable because, you know, if every player did their role properly, you know, we had Benny Hornby, who was great at holding, you know, his defender. Then we had Benny Cray hitting that lead, and then we had Darius Boyd who came out the back. And Darius was so good at picking who he should pass to, either me or Brett. Or dummy and go himself. So he was such a good talent. And that's why I say this year with Guffo, our attack is going to be a lot better because he's got a great passing game and he can pick and choose who to pass to properly. You know, like you've seen on the weekend, you know, Guffo set up 2 tries because he got the ball and he knew who to pass to, who was in space. So, you know, that it reminded me of our left side back into, 2010, 2009, 2011 under Wayne with Darius Boyd. So that's why I'm quite excited about our attack. But like I said, I think our defence needs to tighten up and yeah.
Rob, did you have another question for Coops?
Just quickly, Coops, was it 2000 St George Illawarra you started, mate? I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah. So
you saw the likes of Mundine and Blacklock and all that, and took over from that. So it must have been so bloody exciting, mate. You know, back in that period, like you're talking, home crowds sold out, back flips, forward flips, God knows what.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff.
It was Stadium Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah,
100,000
mate,
I
debuted in front of 110,000. that was my debut, round 1 of 2000. So
that's unbelievable.
Yeah, and it was fitting. We played the Sharks, and ET was playing. That was his last year, so I got to play against ET.
Yeah,
so that was something special for me, debuting round 1 2000 at Olympic Stadium, because they still had those 2 big platforms of the stadium. Which held an extra 20,000 people. So yeah, it was a massive crowd. But yeah, it was great to play with Chalk. You know,
is he a freak? You talk about Freddie.
Yeah, he was, mate. Yeah, he was. He was such a talent, and me and Chalk were really good friends. We still are. You know, we got on so well because, you know, I spent that whole preseason, training with Chalk, and we sort of, you know, when we do drills, when you had to partner up with someone, you know, it was always me and Chalk together. we just had a lot of things in common. We like the same music, and a couple other things, and so we got on really well. And I remember the day, before he retired to go to boxing. We were both injured that year in 2000. We were both injured. I think it was round maybe 15, because I'd played 10 straight games and then I got injured and I was out for the whole year. And me and Chock were in rehab. We're in the gym and we're just training, doing our rehab. And we were sitting down stretching, and Chock said to me, he goes, "Oh, I'm over this shit." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Oh, I've just had enough. I've had enough of it." I said, "What are you going to do?" He's like, "Oh, I'm going to go box." And, I didn't really take him serious. Like, I thought he was just
Chock being Chock.
knocking around. Yeah, just Chock being Chock, And then the very next day, didn't turn up to training. Coach got us into the sheds and said, "Boys, Chock's retired. He's going to boxing." And that was it. And I was at his first fight. I was probably at his first 10 fights actually. Just because we were, such good mates. And
cool.
He done really well out of boxing. He was a talent. He was a talented guy, man. He was so good. He was funny guy, and a lot of people criticize him because of the stuff he says in the media, but that's just him drawing a crowd. That's not the real Chock. That's not the real Chock. The Chock you see on TV or the headlines you read about him. That's just the build up attention. He's a champion.
Well, mate, I reckon he was better sometimes than Laurie Daly and Brad Fittler, mate. He had good stats going. Yeah. He didn't get selected. He got selected for Origin. It's all right.
No, he only. I think he only played one Origin.
Yeah.
One Origin. Yeah.
He was.
Especially that 99. Like, he was on fire. 99. That year he was so good. Yeah. And it was a shame. It was a shame because a lot of people blame Chock for that loss because he dropped the ball over the line. But I disagree with that. I don't think that was Chock's fault.
100%. We were way ahead. It's the whole. We should have kept the lead.
100%. Yeah, like yesterday. We should have protected the lead, and especially in the grand final. So I was a bit upset for Chock over that, and we copped it down in Melbourne. I remember that year, 2000. We got beat 72-10. Talking about big scores. Oh, mate, it was at the MCG, and Chock came out and said something outlandish in the media. I forget what he said.
He said they're nothing but
something about Melbourne not deserving premiers or something.
Yeah, it was something funny.
No, nothing but paper champs.
Yeah, that's it. And then, mate, it was. I remember the bus ride from the stadium back to the hotel. It was. No one spoke. It was.
Who was coach back then? I can't remember. Coops. Who was?
It was David Waite and Andrew Farah, but David Waite was. He was like the head coach. And Andrew Farrell was sort of more of an assistant. And then David Waite left after I think it was 2001. I think Andrew Farrell coached 2001, 2002, and then Browning 2003. And that I've got to give a lot of credit to Nathan Brown, for my career, because those first 2 years, I was playing. The first year I was playing wing, center, second row, just wherever they needed me. And then I was pretty much injured for most of 2001. And then 2002, I played on the wing pretty much the whole season. And then Nathan Brown got the coaching job, and poor Timo done his knee. So Timo was out for the year.
Ouch.
And Brownie came to me in pre-season and he said to me, "There's a left centre spot there for you if you want it." So I trained my ass off and I got the nod at left centre, the number 4 jersey, and that was it. I never got dropped.
Hey,
A lot of
Coops,
people ask me-
next year.
Did
Yeah,
you remember?
played Origin the next year. Yeah.
Did you remember a runner for you? His name was Justin Bailey. That's John Bailey's son. He was a runner for you guys.
Yeah, Justin Bailey. Yeah.
Gymea Gorillas. Yeah, my man was good, best mates with Johnny Bailey. So that's Justin. His
Oh,
son.
okay. Yeah. Mate, he was a champion. He was good. He was good mates with Brownie. He was
Played
Brownie's good mate.
reserve grade for the Dragons as well.
Yeah, mate. He was I really liked him. He was a great bloke, champion.
Yeah.
Bloke. Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah.
Brownie's
Mate,
facial as well too. Remember
what's that?
Brownie's facial slap. Donnie, was it on Lance
Oh,
Thompson? Trent Barrett?
Trent Barrett.
Nah, it was Lance Thompson, Trent Barrett, and Brett Furman. It was the three of them. Oh man, that was funny. That was looking back at it, it was quite funny. Yeah,
That was against Manly, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was at Wynn Stadium. I remember.
Yeah,
that.
I remember the game. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember the sheds after it. It was quite funny.
They made news around the world, mate, in the UK, everywhere.
Oh,
Brownie.
mate. Yeah. Look, I felt sorry for Brownie because I feel like he was put in that position too early.
Yeah.
Because he was coaching guys he played with, and
That's hard.
like that's hard, Even me, like I played with Brownie in 2000, because Brett, he had to retire after 2000 because of his neck, and but you had guys like Lance Thompson there, all these guys that like Trent, guys that Brownie had played with for a long time, and then he's the head coach, so it was quite tough for him. And even though he got thrown into the walls, I think he handled himself really well.
Yeah.
We almost got there in 2005. We should have won that year. Same as 2006. So yeah, it was. I got to give a lot of credit to Brownie. He was the guy that put me at left centre, and I never looked back.
Brownie's long hair back in the day, mate. You remember his long hair?
Mate, yeah. And he had this Jeep Wrangler, right? It was like a drop top convertible, and he used to drive it. It was red, flashy red Jeep. He used to cruise around in the Shire with his hair flowing out the back. He was like a movie star. Nah,
He
it's
lost
all
all his
gone.
hair coaching.
Yeah, it's all gone. He hated that too. He hated it. He hated losing his hair. As people do, but especially Brownie, because he loved his hair.
You sort of mentioned before about being good mates with Hodjo, and I know away from footy, you're a bit of a fan of boxing and UFC, and jumped in the ring against Hodjo. Tell us about that experience, and is it something you might do again in the future, or you're scorned because the judges ripped you off?
Oh, look. To be honest, like that fight, it was 3 2-minute rounds. Like the rounds go like that, and we're wearing 18-ounce gloves. You know, you can't like it was.
Fighting with
It
pillows.
was more. It was yeah. It was. You know, I love the sport. You know, I love you know, obviously MMA and the UFC. You know, I've been a massive fan of the UFC for a long time. You know, I'm good friends with Dana White, have been for 10 years. Good mates with, you know, Alexander Volkanovski. You know, trained with him. You know, when he was before he joined the UFC, and you know, I've been lucky enough to meet a lot of great fighters, especially in Vegas and stuff like that. Because you know, every time I text Dana for a ticket, it's always front row. I remember my first UFC I went to in Vegas. It was 2015. It was Conor McGregor versus Aldo for the championship, and I had front row seats, and I was sitting next to Anthony Kiedis and Oscar De La Hoya. It was yeah,
That's
and then Dana White he took me backstage to the VIP section, and then about 10 minutes later he yells out, "Coops, do you want to come to the press conference?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course." So me and Dana are walking down the corridor, and he goes, "I just got to get someone." Knocks on the door. It's Conor McGregor. He walks out with his belt. He's got his suit on. He's looking sharp as. I'm walking. I'm like shoulder to shoulder, walking down the corridor to the press conference room. Oh, mate, it was a great experience, and yeah. So I've been really blessed with having that relationship with Dana White, and you know, I've been to some really good fights over the years in Vegas, here in Australia. You know, I'm looking forward to Alex fighting in April. He's fighting for the title again. You know, it could be his last fight. You know, I've got a feeling he might retire after this fight, but I hope he goes out a winner. He's a champion guy. He's down to earth, and yeah. So, but getting back to boxing, mate, I would love to have another fight. You know, that fight with Hodjo, you know, that was my first fight. You know, and usually guys with their first fight, they'll fight, you know, just some bum, you know, just to get the win. I didn't want to do that. You know, I wanted to fight someone that actually had experience. You know, Hodjo, he'd had 8 professional fights. You know, he fought Gal twice. So, you know, a lot of the guys that were there that night were, you know, really impressed with the way I went for my first fight. Yeah, I'd love to get back in the ring and have another fight. I've been calling Gal out for 6 years, but I called him out to have an MMA fight about 5 years ago, but he kept dodging me. Yeah.
If you're looking for your second fight to be against a bum, I think Tasman will put his hand up.
That's a bit harsh, mate. That's a bit harsh.
Well, Sonny Bill wants to get in the ring with Gal. The headline's been through the week, but Gal won't. Yeah, 2-minute rounds.
Yeah, see, 2-minute rounds. It's like I said, when I fought Hodjo, it was 2-minute rounds. It goes like that.
Yeah.
And like I said, you can see the gloves hanging up there. They're the gloves I used, and they're pillows. So I'd love to have an 8-round fight, 8 3-minute round fight with 14-ounce gloves or 12-ounce gloves, whatever. Yeah, I'd love to have another fight.
Brilliant.
But yeah.
Yep.
But we want to get back into the Dragons. That's the number one priority.
Let's
get back in the Dragons, eh? Let's get me back.
Got to start that social media campaign. Need a catchy hashtag or something.
Yeah.
Get ET
What's that
to
one?
ring.
Change.org.
We'll get the we'll have to get the Red V Army to make up some signs.
That's it.
There's
Bring
one
back-
there's one for the Red V Army.
Yeah.
Bring back
100%.
Coops.
Bring back Coops.
Hashtag bring back Coops.
Hashtag bring back Coops. All right, Tom. Matt Cooper, you are a man that is simply built different. You debuted in a local derby in front of 100,000 people, made your state of origin debut in a decider in front of 82,500 people. You played and won in a grand final, breaking a 31-year drought. Again, 82,500 people. Used superhuman strength in the tackle of the century on Chris McQueen. Fought professionally, appeared on multiple reality TV shows. You're just constantly taking yourself out of your comfort zone, and no matter what you do, you seem to be amazing at it. Still only 45 and a massive lot of challenges in front of you. Hopefully we do get you back to the Dragons, but thank you very much for joining us on the Mad Dragons podcast.
Dragons
No worries, guys. Yeah,
Dragons. He played for Australia. You left for Australia as well, Coops.
Played for Australia, played for the All Stars, and I've got the most tries for the Dragons ever. 126 tries. That won't get beat. All right, guys. Thanks. I appreciate it.
Go the Dragons.
Thanks.
Good stuff, guys.
Awesome,
Thanks,
bro.
Mike. Thanks for love it. Love it. Thank you very much for coming on. I am absolutely humbled, and great to have a chat with you and look back on what was a fantastic career, and hopefully a big coaching career coming up as well, mate.
Thanks, champ. I really appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
See you, Coops.
Bye, guys.
All right. Well, we will. You're on the Mad Dragons podcast, brought to you by Complete Warehouse Solutions. We'll continue with the show, and we'll go into what is our sort of normal segment that we go into pretty early, and that is this one.
Chat with Coops, and feels like it's going to be a bit of a downer after that. Anyway, heroes and villains for round 2. Oh no, we suck again. Looks like it's going to be a long year. Based off the first 2 performances, predictions about us getting the spoon may not be too far off the mark. Another lead blown. Forwards not doing their job again. Casey doing Casey things in the bunker. Read into that what you will. And a bench rotation which reminded me of Anthony Griffin on his worst days, which is pretty much all the time. Now, I reckon the heat might have got to old Flano in that regard. It was good to see Blocky get a run, even though it was a very short stint, which, I mean, on a 30-degree day like that, the rotation was just absolutely insane. It was good to see Sloaney get a couple of tries off the wing. That'll definitely help his confidence. But in terms of heroes this week, I've got to go with Toby Couchman and Jack DeBellin, who tackled their absolute asses off, making 90 tackles and missing just 2 between them. Now, a couple of bright sparks on what you'd have to call a pretty dark day. Now, I have called Casey Badger out yet again, but surprisingly, she's not getting the villain this week. That's got to go to the dickhead fan who decided to throw some abuse in an 8-year-old. Now, as I said last week after the pie bullshit, there's no place for that shit in the game. Pull your head in, you wanker. Back to you, Donnie.
Yeah, fantastic, mate. Absolutely spot on. I don't know what the hell's going on with our fans at the minute, but there's a few bad eggs that are certainly making us look bad. And I've all of us have said regularly that's not what Dragons fans are like. That's not what Dragons fans are about. And twice in 2 weeks, we've got a couple of individuals that get headlines for all the wrong reasons. I don't understand it. I don't understand why anyone would be abusing an 8-year-old for any reason. Unless it's your kid, you shouldn't be getting involved in that at all. But I think a very worthy villain. Right, Mad Dragons Vodcast Player of the Year. Trying to shorten up this show, so we'll skip that, but we will put a post up about the Mad Dragons Vodcast Player of the Year votes some stage tomorrow. So we'll go straight into moments of the match. You're on the Mad Dragons podcast, brought to you by Complete Warehouse Solutions. And I'll go to you, Rob. A few changes to the team list on Tuesday. Let's start with the one a lot of people kind of expected to actually happen on Tuesday, with Sloan replacing Finai. Was this the right move? And do you expect Finai to be considered for the next game?
No, I think it was the right move. I think Finai got absolutely smashed by the Bulldogs. Peppered.
Oh, sorry. Oh, Hasman's gone. I was going to say our goodbyes to Hasman. He's had to drop off, so it's just the three of us left for the rest of the night. Go ahead, Rob.
That's all right, mate. Yeah, man, he got peppered, smashed in the Bulldogs game. I think Tyrell Sloan was always sort of coming back from injury and was going to get pretty much the first crack. CT, I always thought, would be one of the wingers, and Tyrell Sloan would get first crack on the other wing. So obviously Sloan scored 2 tries in the last game, yet the tries were finishing tries. One was decent with pace, and obviously one was just pretty much over the line from Sully. He could have probably scored himself, but I think Sloan, probably deserves to be in against Melbourne, without a doubt. He did the right things on the wing so far. But yeah, for Matty, I don't know if you'll get another crack, mate, at this stage.
All right. Well, his name might come up again a little bit later on, so we'll move on. The other change was Blake Laurie into the starting team with Toby Couchman dropping back to the bench. Jesse, what were your thoughts on this late change?
It was a big question mark on it. Toby Couchman was arguably our best forward in the game against the Dogs last week, playing 70 minutes, 47 tackles. And Blocker only lasted the 20 minutes. He never got back on. Toby just looked better when he ran, and he was running with a vengeance. Blake just looked gassed after 10 minutes, and it was very warm conditions there, and it just looked better when Toby was on the field. He just ran with a vengeance, and he showed why he's I don't get why he started ahead of Toby Couchman. I don't understand that.
Yeah, so I think people think, if he started, then that means Blake Laurie's a better player. Blake Laurie was always only playing 20 minutes. That was his role. He was playing 20 minutes, whether it's off the bench or starting, he was only playing 20 minutes. For whatever reason, Flano decided that Blake Laurie's best 20 minutes is going to be in that opening 20 minutes of the game. I think Blocker did a fine job. Everyone's giving him shit. But he was on for 18 minutes. It wasn't quite 20, 18 minutes. In 18 minutes, he made 20 tackles. He had 5 runs. He ran for almost 50 metres. He did the job that Flano gave him to do. Whether there's somebody else that is possibly better at doing that 20-minute job, whether it was a good coaching decision from Flano to have a guy only playing 20 minutes, in a game where it's 35-degree heat. I think the question marks are for Flano, not for Blake Laurie. I think Laurie did exactly the job that the coach asked him to do. And I don't understand why, once again, he's copping so much shit. He went out there and he did the job. All right, talking about it being a hot day in Wollongong, Rob, the early going, both teams were pretty much perfect, but South, they did seem to get the better of the physical exchanges. A lot of fans put this solely down to our forwards, but are there other things you think we could do as a unit to allow us to get up over the advantage line a little bit easier early in games because we struggled in both our first two.
Absolutely, mate. I think across the board as a unit, I think there's only sort of X amount of players. Toby Couchman was mentioned, Gutho, players like that who play with intensity. You know what I mean? From the opening minute into the 80th minute. So for me, unfortunately, I thought there was players that just, for whatever reason, were in and out of the game. And you got to be in there for 80 minutes. And, mate, we had this game won several times in the game. We could have gone on with it. But as a combined unit, we need to play like that. So these individuals like Toby, Couchman, Gutho, whatever, we need to, all of us need to be like that, mate. The top teams, Melbourne and the Sharks and all that, as a combined unit, they play like that, mate, with intensity for the whole 80 minutes. So I don't know. I've still got questions with Flano with that, with the inconsistency coming back again, mate. You know what I mean? So, and we've got some experienced players there, like you said, Donny, I mean, in our back line, you know, Val Holmes and stuff like that. So I don't get it. I would have thought, and even in our forwards, mate, Luch and, players like that, Jaden Sewer, should be bloody all up for a match like this, mate. You know what I mean? For the 80 minutes. So it's just disappointing because we should have closed this game out. We should have won well, mate.
Gary Kozlowski saying no forward should play 20 minutes. Daniel Saluka for Peter last week for the Bulldogs. Started the game, played the first 20 minutes, didn't come back on. He did exactly the same thing for the Bulldogs. The Oregon Kafusi for the Sharks did it all last year. Started the game, played the first 20 minutes, that doesn't come back on. That's about all he plays. There are teams that have forwards that only play 20 minutes. That is their role in the side. Now what? And that aside, that's not Blake Laurie's choice. Blake Laurie's more than capable of having a second stint playing 40 minutes. He's done it his entire career. He plays somewhere between 40 and 50 minutes pretty much his entire 150 game career. So, but it's not Blake Laurie's choice that he only played 20 minutes. That was the job the coach asked him to do. That was the job that Shane Flanagan asked Blake Laurie to play, and that's what he did. He went out and played that role. I'd be a lot more unhappy with Emre Gula, who played 45 minutes and made 3 meters more than Blake Laurie did. He's a guy that I think in the first 2 games of this season simply hasn't stepped up. He's not doing the job that we need him to do. He's our size. He's the big guy that's supposed to be actually making a dent in the line. So for me, Emre Gula deserves a lot more criticism than Blake Laurie does.
And I'll be taking out Gula straight away and putting Clemmer in. If Clemmer's, I'm not impressed with Gula, to be honest with you. I know he's played. I
was in the trials, mate, for the first 2 games of the regular season. He's been dreadful.
It's way too pedestrian for me, mate.
Yeah.
He didn't play a lot of minutes, no. He
played 43, 44 minutes.
He didn't do much, no.
He didn't do anything.
Toby Couchman's miles ahead.
Oh, 100%.
RFM didn't get many minutes either.
We didn't get many minutes in the first game either. I just think that's strange. And we do have a question of that a little bit later, Big T. We'll get to that one. South eventually turned this physical dominance into points with that. Jai Gray awarded a penalty try. Jesse, thoughts on this decision?
I don't think it was a penalty try. Everyone at the ground said it was not a penalty try. You couldn't guarantee that Jai Gray was going to score there.
That's not what the rule says, Jesse. Guarantee is not in the rules. That is something that was made up by commentators 10 years ago. It's never been in the rules.
But you can't say he would have scored either. And
he was leading the race. If he wasn't impeded, he would have got to the ball first. And if he wasn't impeded, he probably picks it up and scores. In the opinion of the referee, he scores. That's 100% a penalty try. That's more of a penalty try, I think, than the one last week that we got.
You ask everyone at the ground, they couldn't believe it.
Oh, well, are any of them Dragons fans by chance?
There were actually a few media that said that too.
Yeah, they're wrong. That was a penalty try.
I agree. 100%. I'm a Dragons fan, but I agree.
Yeah,
I grabbed the leg of him, but yeah, I don't know. You don't.
Well, I mean, if it's like you could make the argument that Tyrell Sloan maybe he's teleports and gets across in front of him and prevents that from being a try. But if it's not a penalty try, it's 10 in the bin. So we might have conceded 4 tries with that.
It might have been worse for us, to be honest.
It might have been worse. So
yeah.
But for me, that was a penalty try, and I think it was the right decision. I didn't like it. I might have been yelling and screaming about it at the time and not agreeing with it, but in the cold light of day, having rewatched it, I think it was the right decision. All right. Actually, sorry?
I said there was a lot to be desired. Some woeful decisions by the referees yesterday.
Yeah, well, we can't always blame the refs. I think in any game where it's close, though, you find one decision that they got wrong and you blame that and go, well, we would have won if it wasn't for that decision. It just papers over cracks and you never have to actually analyse your own team and be critical of them and don't have to hold anybody accountable but the referee. Because I asked Rob about Sloan before, I'll stick with you, Jess, because the next question is about Tyrell Sloan coming into the team, and he was... you'll find this out tomorrow, but you'll find it out right now. The Mad Dragons vodcast man of the match was Tyrell Sloan. Scored a double, but talk us through his performance overall and why you think that the panel gave him more votes than anyone else.
I think he looked great on the wing. He looked real right at home. Guffo was talking to him too where he needed to be, and that was good. And yeah, he looked like he made an impact every time he got the ball, made 20 or 30 meters every time he ran, maybe more, and got a well-deserved double. He played great, and I think, I'm looking forward to seeing him get better and improve on that as the year goes on, because he looked great on the wing, and if we can keep that combination between him and Guffo going, we're going to be a threat down that side.
I don't think Tony Secosta agrees. He says, WTF, you have to be joking. I personally didn't have Tyrell Sloan as my man of the match, but I did think he had a very good game. Lots of question marks about him defensively, and I think that he defensively stood up. There was certainly no errors down his side of the field. He made a couple of long range breaks. He looked constantly dangerous. I think he had a very good game.
Made a few try savers as well.
Yeah, I think defensively, he that was the big question mark on him for me. And
but I mean, he scored a try. Sully could have scored it, and I love Sloan, man. I want him to be.
Yeah, the commentator said Sully could have scored it, but there was cover defence coming, and if Sully would have had to beat that cover.
Yeah,
Sully was playing with a rib problem most of the game, so I don't know.
I ask you this: if you watch it closely, what you said before, Donny, Toby Couchman, and JDB, if they didn't make those tackles that they did, and the missed tackles that the two, mate, we would have lost by more instead of winning by more. I can't see how. Sloan should poll a vote, sure, but not 3 points. You know what I mean?
No,
I mean, for me, it was.
I'm not giving anybody a hard time at all.
For me, I think the 3-2-1 were really difficult this week in that everyone that I thought deserved votes also had moments where, just horrible moments where you're like, well, I can't possibly give them votes now. Like Gutherson was outstanding. I think he set 3 tries up. He set up a few line breaks where he was constantly dangerous. I think Gutherson was probably our best player. Everything good we did was around Gutho. But
he was yelling all afternoon. He was very
well, I mean, what about the Peter Marmazelis try? Where Marmazelis just went straight through it and he wasn't even looking. It's like
it was that's
horrible. That's completely unacceptable. And it's like, well, I want to give him 3 votes.
But well too, Lachania Lulua, that was fucking hopeless as well.
Jaden Sewer was much better, but again, the Cody Walker try, Sewer was Sewer and Ilias again that sort of let them through. So again, there were people. You talk about Toby Couchman, but then he has two errors, 2 simple drop balls that put us under pressure.
Yeah,
he did a hell of a lot of work, but again, there was moments that every good player had where it was bad moments as well. So it was difficult to narrow it down to players that didn't make any mistakes. And I think Tyrell Sloan is one of those that certainly didn't didn't make any mistakes that stood out for me, and I think deserves to be in amongst the 3-2-1s. And overall, I think there was 4 people that did give him man of the match of our 11 judges, and he ended up with 1 more vote than Gutho. All right. So the next one, Rob, is about the Dragons conceding a couple of soft tries with a bit of lack of concentration close to the line. How would you go about fixing these sorts of lapses?
Well, mate, I mean, your defence on your goal line is paramount. You know, it's got to be like the fucking Great Wall of China or whatever you want to call it. You just can't let a little guy, and I mean, I know these little guys can be bloody good. You know, obviously the hooker for South and Jolly Gray we're just talking about, bloody elusive. But I mean, on your goal line, you don't want him to just dive over. It was almost like he was diving into a pool. You know what I mean?
That was the way he went over, yeah.
And it's just a joke. We shouldn't be conceding tries like that. You know what I mean? And that you know, people were saying about Val missing a couple of goals or whatever, but that try was just so piss poor. So I mean, if they didn't score that try, we would bloody well won the game. So you can make excuses up for everywhere you want to look at it. Val missing goals, but whatever. But we should not concede tries like that on our try line. That was just way too easy. Way too easy. And that reminded me of Hook's days, if you remember. The same sort of bloody shit again. Yeah.
Well, Gary's he's Gary Kozlowski in the comments. He's just had a big crack at Lachlan Ilias about not being able to pass left, but Gary doesn't know right from left because then he corrects himself and says it was right, not left. So yeah, we all make mistakes, Gary. We all make mistakes, even Lachlan Ilias. Jess, we led 14-12 at half time. At the break, how were you feeling? What were your thoughts?
I was nervous. It was a scrappy game at that point of the game. Could have still gone either way. Knowing how Wayne Bennett teams are, I thought it was going to be an arm wrestle to continue on in that second half, and we just had to be on. We had to be better defensively if we were going to win that game.
Jess, Donnie frozen? Jess, is
Donnie, you there?
Are you there?
You're frozen.
But I'm back again. I'm back.
You've warmed up.
Sorry.
You've warmed up.
Yeah, well, the signal I've got at the moment's not great, but we'll go along. I didn't hear a lot of your answer, but after half time, we grabbed a couple of tries, blew out to a 24-12 lead, Rob, and well and truly in control. So we heard from Jesse in terms of what he was feeling at 14-12, at 24-12 after a couple of tries after the break. What were your thoughts? You know, sort of once Tuipulotu got that try and got us that big lead.
I sent you a message before that, right? And I said, Patchy, I forgot you were cricket commentating, the great Donnie Bill doing cricket, rugby league, everything commentating.
I was on airplane mode. I didn't see anything.
Yeah. So, mate, I thought, hallelujah, brother. We're ahead. Let's keep going, you know what I mean? Or let's defend the lead, but let's just keep going, you know, like maybe score another try, but for God's sake, defend the lead. I mean, Jess, it's a good lead, right?
It's a good lead. They had enough lead to win the Melbourne Cup, Rob.
100%. And I said to you, Donnie, back in with Hook, and everybody gives Hook a hard time, but there was games when we could have closed the match out and won the game, but we didn't. And mate, obviously history's history, but mate, so disappointing because I thought we really.
Yeah. I'm going to say when I was watching the game, it got to that 24-12 lead, and we just looked in charge. We looked in control of the game. South were fighting. Yeah, they had a couple of injuries. They were already had a raft of players out. I thought from there we just go on with it. We go on with it and we win it easy. We win it by 20.
Plus they were down to 15 players. Jai Arrow was ruled out.
That's what I said, Jeff. Like they had a couple of injuries during the game, as well as the raft of players they already had out. So from there, I thought we go on with it and we win it easy.
Absolutely, mate.
Yeah.
So inconsistency in one last season. Far out.
Why didn't we go for field goal?
We'll get to that. Let's talk about Val Holmes first, though, Jeff. Val Holmes, he kicked poorly in both our first two games. Do you know if Darryl Halligan is helping with his goal kicking?
I have no idea. I have no idea. He's not. He's definitely not showing the form he had last year when he was leading point scorer in the NRL.
Yeah, I only say that because Darryl Halligan was helping Zach
I
Lomax
know that.
50%. Yeah.
Maybe we need Graham Arnold, mate. South is using Graham Arnold.
He was trying to curve them in instead of like JT used to do. He was allowing too much for the win. There wasn't a breeze at Win Stadium yesterday, so I don't know what he was trying. He was going either too wide or too far left. He couldn't get his range. The only ones he did get was the ones right in front. So, yeah, he's really got to work on that kicking, on that goal kicking, because when the tight games come, you've got to nail those conversions. I've had a lot of DMs saying, "Oh, Lomax would have kicked those." Lomax has gone. Move on from him.
Well,
We've got Val Holmes now.
Do you remember a few years
You
ago
can't guarantee Lomax would have got those.
when Lomax had the yips? He was snapping at the ball. He was slicing. I was watching him at Cogra. He would go into the ball and he'd snap at it. You know what I mean? So he had a bit of the yips, back in the period.
He didn't have the yips. He had Darryl Halligan wanted him to completely change his goal kicking technique.
So that's what I didn't know that.
So he changed everything. And Darryl Halligan was still adamant that if he had stuck with it, then he would have been a better goal kicker than he is right now. But he basically threw it all out and went back to the way that he used to kick.
Yeah, I was going to say, I remember the snapping at the ball, man.
It wasn't pretty, and Val looks to have been a similar vein at the moment. But I'm sure he probably won't miss for the next 500.
That's not the reason we lost the game, though. People crucifying him. That's the reason we lost the game. That's not the reason we lost the game.
We were ahead 24.
Well, again, if he kicks all his goals, we're up 30-12, and South probably give up from there. So, it's a big. We still won 5 tries to 4. If we kick one goal, then they don't even go for that field goal. Who knows what happens from there? But it certainly is a massive factor, as you said, in close games. If you're not kicking those goals,
crucial,
then you lose. That was actually the reason we lose. Mathematically, you do the maths.
Yes.
Val Holmes' misses were exactly the reason why we lost the game. But we shouldn't have put ourselves in that position.
No,
I understand what you're
that's
saying.
what I mean. Like our defense should have backed us to win that. But as Flano said, poor mismanagement from the team. We couldn't close it out.
Yeah. Oh, Rob, South, though, without a host of players, lost players throughout the game with the heat. Were you surprised that it was us that wilted, or are there issues with our preparation that have been exposed by some sort of lack of conditioning?
Yeah, mate, I don't get it, mate. I thought our fitness was, Flano had the first year, now again the second year. I just don't know. I don't get it. Are some of our bigger boys not fit enough? I don't know. It is a concern, Donnie, to be honest with you. Moving forward, it is a bit of a concern, mate. Because certainly we fell away.
Yeah. Well, I know Muzzer, he wanted to talk about the field goal and lack of pressure on Jamie Humphries. But first of all, I want to go back to you, Jess, for the question that you asked, that the set before South kicked their field goal, we were in the right territory to take our own shot, but never seemed to even consider it. Why?
I don't know. That's I thought Val would have been, because Val's a good field goal kicker as well. I've never seen
had that 2-point attempt on half time, didn't he? So
he did, yes, but he was way off. But yeah, he's kicked many 2-point field goals in his career. So I don't think I've ever seen Kyle Flanagan or Lachlan Lewis kick one in their NRL career. So yeah, that's just due to lack of game management. I don't know why Val Holmes didn't go hunting for the ball either. I mean, and with 4 minutes to go, they give it to Cookie and the centers on the last tackle. What's he going to do with it? That was poor. That was absolutely piss poor.
It's pathetic.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, now the South field goal attempt. Muzzer was adamant that there should have been some pressure on Jamie Humphries. He had all the time in the world. Why wasn't there any pressure on Humphries to kick that left footer?
To be fair to Dragons, I think it was a bit of a shock. If you looked at him, he was pretty much 45 degrees, so you're not certain he's going to take a field goal right then and there. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, maybe I got the red eye and the white eye going or whatever. I get where Muzz is coming from, but he was sort of side on and then snapped it side on and he just flushed it. You know what I mean?
But he had all the time in the world.
You see the world's biggest bloody halfback? He looks like a bloody bodybuilder.
He's got some big thighs, doesn't he?
Jeez, at his chest and his shoulders.
The Dragons just gave up on the play. They thought there was an error, and we've said this many times in the past. They've got to play to the whistle. They weren't playing to the whistle. They thought there was a mistake. They gave up on the play, and then Humphries had all the time in the world. No pressure on him. Easily kicked it. Never looked like missing it.
And even Cody said,
but I don't think that was a set play from South. So the ball was supposed to go to Cody Walker.
Yeah, it was him.
Just going to block.
It was Humphries.
Walker was just no, it was Walker. The ball was supposed to go to Walker. The ball
bounced
over Walker's shoulder and bounced, and then Humphries picked it up. So everybody was zeroed in on Walker to try and put pressure on that kick. But Walker wasn't going for field goal. He was just going to bomb to a corner.
Yeah,
South weren't even setting up for a field goal.
Yeah.
And when it bounced, it rolled. Humphries picked it up and thought, well, why not? And he
backed himself.
It was like Jason Riles' field goal attempt back in the day. He got the ball and scores were level, and he thought, why not have a crack? But unlike Riles, unfortunately, Humphries actually kicked it. But yeah, we've got one question that comes through from a fan that I probably should have had in the agenda, but kind of rushed it, focusing on the Matt Cooper interview from Justin Melton. Yes, talking about Kyle Flanagan. They're saying last year he did some kicking in general play, but now it seems to be all Ilias. Ilias is the only one doing any kicking. Again, why is this something that Shane Flanagan is coaching the side to do, or does Kyle just not want to kick?
I don't know. Yeah, I agree. He did not go looking for the ball once. Is he scared of kicking? Is it something he's not confident in doing? I think Ilias is a Hunt 2.0. All he does is bomb.
Well, I mean, is it Hunt 2.0 or is it all Shane Flanagan? Is it Shane Flanagan telling his halves, this is how I want you to kick? Because you've got two players doing the same thing. You've got to find the common denominator. Maybe it's not like Hunt's not doing that at the Broncos.
Hunt's playing what his strength is. He's running.
He's playing the way that his coach wants him to play. Maybe he was playing the way his coach wanted him to play last year as well.
It's got to be coaching instructions, Donnie. You're 100% right, because Hunt's gone now, and obviously he was domineering. He pretty much ran the show. But now we've got Ilias and we've got Flanagan. So to me, that's a direct instruction from Flanagan that Ilias will run the show, like run with the kicks and all that. And, so I don't think it's Kyle not wanting to. I'm not having to go you, Jesse. I don't think it's Kyle not wanting to do it. I think it's Flanagan's instructions. And, mate, you know why I didn't like Hunt? Because he wanted to leave our Dragons, but freaking hell, man.
He was a class playmaker.
Ilias' kicking game is just a lot left to be desired, man.
I can see why Souths fans I've had a lot of messages from Souths fans. He said, I told you he's going to be like that.
Well, to be fair, I told you he was going to be like that too, but no one...
Yeah, Souths fans are laughing.
But Lisa Marie Cooper, great comment here. Successful teams have several confident kickers rather than relying on one.
100%.
You look at most teams, and it's not a single person that does all the kicking. Yes, there might be a dominant kicker, but the 5'8" will be putting in half a dozen kicks, and the halfback will be putting in 10. So it's while there might be a dominant kicker, there's multiple options that most teams have, and a variety of different kicks as well. Whereas the Dragons only seem to have one type of kick, one way of kicking.
And the opposition can see that as well too. They'll hone in on it and they'll see it.
Well, what do you take on him singling out Ilias yesterday after the game?
Well, he's taken that back. He has apologised for that. He was, again, I mean, that's the problem with post-match press conferences. You chuck a coach into that situation where his emotions are heightened. I think he was spot on, but I don't think it's the right thing for a coach to be doing this early in the season, throwing your halfback under the bus. Again, Lachlan Ilias has been made the scapegoat a few times before. I don't know that we've got too many other better options. So we've got to stick with him. We've got to try and build up his confidence, not break him down and tear him apart. So,
but I
don't know that it was the right thing for Flano to do. But
I got to respect you, Donny. You picked it. You did say halves, right? At their worst, they're reserve grade halves. I mean, Ilias and Flanagan. I mean, Flanagan's as long as he's playing really good footy, top game or whatever, he can pass for first grade. But mate, when they're not playing Ilias and Flanagan at their top footy, mate, they're not freaking first grade players. You know what I mean? I mean, look across the competition, the 5'8" and the halfbacks, mate. I don't know if even if these boys would be picked at 5'8" or halfback in any of the other teams, mate. To be honest with you, I mean, let's be honest.
I just want to say, a little fan who I met the other night. Hello, if you're watching, Parker and Brooke. Good to meet you, and we'll line up to get you on the show one night, won't we, Donny? We'll make that arrangement.
Absolutely. Always happy to have Rugby League Roo is the sensational, the stuff that they're doing. So following along as well, and great that you got to meet a Mad Dragons podcast fan. I know we've got a few in the comments, but you don't see too many in real life. I think I know it certainly made you feel good. It pumped up your tyres a bit, Jess.
Yeah, and he was very excited too. So yeah, we look forward to having you on the show. And I think he's only 6 years old. He scored 89 tries in 2 years. So that's remarkable.
Wow.
Best player in the country.
I don't think I scored 89 tries in my career, so he's doing fantastically well. All right, lower grades, you're on the Mad Dragon.
Oh no, Jesse's frozen.
Oh, he's frozen again. Donny, come on, warm up. Turn the heater on, Donny.
He needs a beer. Get him a beer.
Do a fire up video. That'll fire up. Come on, Donny, fire up.
If everybody's there before he comes back on, did anybody watch the game day video of the pie? My wife was shocked.
There he is. That worked. Fire up.
We're just while you're off, Donny, we're paying homage to you for your game day video. My wife was shocked. She said, I know Donny does mad things. He's just smashed a pie into his face.
Yeah, well, it wasn't too much of a game day video.
Everyone to get a pint win stadium yesterday.
It was a dead set piss take that one yesterday, but it was good fun. I always like to try and make people laugh from time to time. I think sometimes we all take ourselves a little bit too seriously, but lower grades will be reviewed and previewed in their own separate mini shows. Hopefully, I get a chance to actually do it this week. I haven't done it for the last couple of weeks, but both their Flegg and New South Wales Cup sides got good wins over Souths. Well, I mean, a lot of people are saying let's bring in all the New South Wales Cup sides. They actually weren't very good, Jesse.
No, they won in the end, but.
Well,
they had a big lead like first grade, and they nearly lost it. But
they completed it. They completed it about 60%. They were not good and still won like 30-12 or something. I can't.
30-18, yeah.
It was a pretty comfortable win. Ben Rumble scored a few tries, but also had 5 errors.
He looked good. Patrick.
Well, I mean, he had 5 errors. He was real rocks and diamonds. He dropped about 3 or 4 catches. Bombs, and he had a host of mistakes, but also scored 3 tries and made a few breaks, and it looked very dangerous. So,
Mike King was quite sharp too. I liked what he did.
But also,
he built into that game. That short ball he threw for Dylan Egan, that was an absolute beauty.
Dylan Egan sharp too.
Dylan Egan was sensational. He played the 80 minutes, started in the middle of the field, moved to an edge later in the game. Topped the tackle count. He is one player that I think is 100% NRL already. There's a few of the others I think need a bit more work and a bit more time in cup. Dylan Egan for me is one that he's ready for the NRL.
Is Gary
whenever he
Kozlowski
gets his
talking
call.
about Fino Latu or Loco Tonga?
Which one?
I
Can't
like his
say the
last
name.
comment.
Egan and the other big unit straight in. So he's talking about Loco Tonga, I assume.
But to be fair, boys, I mean, come on, South had so many players out in first grade, right? So
yeah, the reserve grade team shit. The reserve grade team wouldn't beat Woy.
Loco,
so
yep.
I get people sort of jump. We lost the game. Let's bring in other players, but come on, we should have won that game 3 or 4 times in the match. We should have won it well. So,
We were pretty much at full strength too.
yeah. So I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think it's diabolical to try and bring in low grade players at the moment. But then again, we're playing Melbourne in a couple of weeks, so.
Well, yeah, I think there's
Not
a
even
few
have another
positions.
baby.
There's a few positions that need to be fixed.
Yeah,
There's
sure.
certainly a few positions that need to be fixed, but I don't know that we've necessarily got the players to fix those particular positions. I think the spots where we're actually okay. I know a lot of people are talking about the young forwards, but I think they still need a little while longer. Jesse?
I want to point out too, when we lost Moses Sully with that rib blow yesterday, we still lack a utility on the bench. I mean, people said, "Oh, Damien Cook played centre for New South Wales."
Yeah, he has.
Yeah. And how did that turn out?
But he's also played. He played centre quite a few times last year for South. He's played fullback. He was in the New South Wales Cup Team of the Year when he was a fullback. So
That was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago, but I still like it.
I know, Johnny.
We do lack a utility. We do lack a utility on the bench.
We have to wrap up.
You're not going to have Jacob Little, Damien Cook, and a utility in your side. That's just not going to happen.
And that's what I was going to say. Little killed it. Little killed it when he came on against the Dogs, but I thought Little against in this last game
He wasn't used effectively.
Well, but also
I thought he was ordinary. He wasn't used effectively. He was just ordinary. I agree.
Yeah, I didn't think he was on
His
at all.
hand's still heavily strapped. His hand's still heavily strapped, so it must still be having an effect on him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
again, a lot of people saying that Little's got to start and Cook's got to go, but I thought Jacob Little was pretty average.
I agree. I was shocked. I thought he was in for a better game than what he had.
Yeah. And he got a little bit longer, got slightly longer time than he got in the first week. I'd still like to see that 1-2 punch used a little bit better. I'd like to see, maybe Little come on after 30 minutes, not 50 minutes. That last 10 minutes of a half, I think he could cause some real problems, and then Cook can come on as a running forward later on. But that obviously got a spanner thrown in the works with Sully going down. We had to plug that gap and decided to go with Cook, and Cook went okay out there, but he's not a.
Oh, he's frozen again.
Well, while Donny's frozen, does Clemmer start on the bench, Jesse, against Melbourne? Obviously, he can play.
He's got to get his match fitness up first. He hasn't played it. He hasn't played any trials or anything.
Not even a bench spot. You don't think?
I think he comes into the 17. Whether or not he starts, I don't know. But he's got to get his match fitness up first.
Yeah.
We're just talking about Clemmer, Donny.
Okay, well, that was probably next on the list. So let's try and rush through the rest of this agenda. News and rumours, Michaeli Ravalawa loaned to South, but at this stage he will be back for the Dragons in 2026. Thoughts on this move, Rob?
I love Rav. I really do, but I think he's sort of past his best at the Dragons. I don't know. It's become a bit stale. I feel sorry for the guy. I mean, he got put on the other wing that he's not common to play. All that sort of stuff's happened to him the last couple of years. But Donny, CT's a freaking beast, and I think Sloane's here to stay as well too.
That was great yesterday.
I just don't see Rav being in our top 3 or 4 choices.
I don't think there's a spot for him to come back to.
No.
There's not. You talk about CT and Sloan. Forget that. He doesn't have a spot in reserve grade. Ben Campbell is being picked ahead of him.
Yeah, I'm trying to be nice to him.
There's not a spot in reserve grade for Michaeli Ravaloa. So, but at this stage, unless we can find another club to take him for 2026, he's going to be in our top 30 for 2026. He's got a contract. He's going to be playing somewhere. He's most likely going to be back at the Dragons and
reserve grade.
Yeah. Well, not even in reserve grade. He'd be playing in the local Illawarra comp at this stage to play at the highest paid player in the local Illawarra comp. Jess, basically no change in the Frank Molo situation. How long do you expect this to drag on for?
It could take months. Flano doesn't even know how long it's going to take.
He dodges questions altogether. He's like, nothing to do with me. Nothing at all to do with me.
It doesn't. It's management, and then it's the NRL thing. It could take months. It's a very technical and legal thing because he still has a contract, and how it's I've never heard like the way it's going on. I've never actually seen anything like it. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know when it comes around. Hopefully, maybe the club hasn't given up on changing his mind, and hopefully he can come back and play. Hopefully that can happen. Unless they come to a resolve soon, it's going to drag out for months. Could take up till June, even more.
Yeah.
But Jesse, you want an out. Apparently, the story goes he went to Flano in his office and said, "I want out." That afternoon, if you believe the story, and he goes to train with his brother Michael, and he drove home and he pissed off. Yeah. So
we've heard that part of the story 15 times.
I know, mate, but if you don't want to play the Dragon,
that's not new.
Yeah,
but you don't know what it's for. Like it apparently a coaching staff member of the coaching staff said something to him that made him quite upset. But it's a really technical issue. You don't really know the full story. No one will ever know it.
Well, John Muller said Molo got paid $170,000 in December. So would the Dragons owe him anything? That's one of the big sticking points, John, is that the Dragons actually want Molo to pay Molo. The Dragons want Molo to pay that back. They have paid him that in advance for his salary. And he is now not playing. So the Dragons are saying, well, you can't leave to go to another club until you pay us that back. And so that's one of the sticking points. There's a few conditions that the Dragons are putting on it. The Dragons are playing hard ball and basically. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm quite happy for the club not to be a doormat. Not to allow Frank Molo to walk all over him and, just wipe their hands and say, oh, no, well, yeah, we just want to get rid of you, so we'll bend over backwards and give you everything you want because you're chucking your toys out of the cot. I'm quite happy for the Dragons to dig their heels in a little bit here.
I agree with you. I don't want him back in the team, though. I don't want him back in the team. Piss off.
There's zero chance of him being back in the team, mate.
Yeah,
it's just negotiating how he leaves and under what circumstances and what the Dragons get for it. All right, some forced and unforced changes. Rob, Moses Sully suffered a rib injury. I've highlighted this before, the lack of depth when it comes to genuine NRL quality centres. So who will it be that comes in to replace Sully if he is unavailable for the Melbourne game?
Well, mate, to be honest with you, I've really got no idea, mate, to be honest with you. I mean, does he pull a Corey Allen into the team, to play centre? Because obviously Corey Allen's got that experience, first grade experience, and played for Queensland in the Origin, or one of the younger boys. I mean, you were joking before, Jesse, about Damien Cook, but I don't think that'll happen. But I don't think see Corey Allen.
They had no choice yesterday.
Yeah, Corey Allen coming in, you know what I mean? I don't know.
I think Corey Allen seems the most likely. He didn't play the New South Wales Cup game because he was suspended, but I think it was only a 1-week suspension, so I think he will be available. He seems the most likely. Matt Feeney is probably the other one.
Nathan Lawson.
Nathan Lawson's been playing okay. He's been playing okay in New South Wales Cup in the centres. Hayden Buchanan played really well in the centres. I actually think it was his best New South Wales Cup game
Yeah,
ever,
he looked good
on the weekend, and defensively he was rock solid. That's been again my big thing with him, is he wasn't ready
but he's not eligible
physically
though,
in
is he?
defence. No, he's not. They need to get special dispensation. I don't think they get it. Dylan Egan actually played in the centres during the trials for the Dragons, so they might. I don't think they'd name him as a starting centre though. So
Flannery likes his older
And
players.
then Matt Feeney would be another option we'd probably consider.
Well, I did say Matt Feeney. That was the second one that I said. I think he would be if it's not Corey Allen, it'll be Matt Feeney, I reckon.
Well, I think Corey Allen.
It's horrible.
I watched his reserve grade game against the Dogs, and he actually wasn't too bad with Sloane, to be honest with you. He was giving pointers to Sloane on the wing, so I don't know if that counts or anything, but you're probably going to tell me they won't play together in the first grade team. But
I mean they would. It's Sully and Sloane.
So it has to be Corey Allen, I think, mate. I mean, he's played State of Origin for Queensland in regular first grade. So
again, that was a long time ago, and
but he's got the case.
That's like saying Frank Molan is a former State of Origin player. It's like, come on.
No, I know, but Flannery seems to pick the experience, the older players, whatever. That's what he likes to do.
Yeah. Jess, I don't know where you guys got with the David Clement chat. Will be available for selection against Melbourne. I assume he comes straight into the 17. What will his role be?
I don't really know yet. I mean, he hasn't played any trials. He doesn't have any match fitness. Didn't play New South Wales Cup for the Magpies either. So I think he'll come into the fray somewhere. Whether it's starting, whether it's on the bench, I'm not too sure. But he will make an impact. He'll probably start training with the side tomorrow, and I'll say he'll come into the 17 somewhere. I'm not sure whether he'll start or come off the bench, but he'll feature somewhere.
I mean, we saw on the weekend. It doesn't really matter whether you start or come off the bench. You can still play big minutes coming off the bench. Toby Cowton played 60 minutes off the bench. We've seen Jack DeBellin do that as well. So I think his big frame, he might very well start and get through that first 20 minutes and then come back on for a second stint a bit later. But we'll see. We'll see what Flano wants to do. He doesn't always run that sort of bench rotation the way a lot of fans want him to. But we'll see how it goes. Rob, Tom Eisenhuth is yet to play a game at any level in 2025. And while there were originally reports of a concussion suffered at training, there's been no update on Eisenhuth since. I mean, I'll throw the question to you, but does anybody know what's going on with Tommy?
I have no idea, mate. I know he's liked by Flano. Obviously, so disappointing with Ryan Couch from being out. To me, he would get that spot every day of the week. So, but I know he's much loved by Flano. So if his name was in the 17, I wouldn't be shocked, mate. After having 2 losses on the trot.
Well, not so much that. It's like what's happening with his injury.
I don't know.
He's not in the casualty ward on the NRL, no.
I've heard some rumours that he might never play again. Like, I don't know where that's coming from, but yeah, I've had some
if he believes,
he might not play again.
I got it here, Jesse. I was meant to read the team list, right? Casualty ward from last week: Hannay, Sele, Calf, round 4, Ryan Couch, and ACL season. So there's no Eisenhuth, right, Jesse? So
no.
So no idea, man. I
did see him there at the game yesterday, but you can't really see if he's got an injury. I couldn't only see him from a distance.
Yeah. Well, I know originally it was listed as a concussion. So if it's a long-term concussion, something that's ongoing and he's actually proving to be a significant issue in his life, then is there a possibility that he may announce a injury-related retirement? I certainly hope not.
Could be.
Shouldn't be too far away, should he?
Round four, I think he's supposed to be back, round 4 or 5. So,
Donnie, it happened to the Rooster player. Who was the Rooster player that was the second rower that had all those concussions?
Gordon.
Yeah.
Gordon.
Yeah. So
the Roosters have had 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah.
Bradley's the latest one.
Yeah, so you're right, Donnie. They can retire because it's obviously you like
again. We're like this is pure speculation. Like I don't know anything, and obviously neither do Jesse or Rob. So it'd be lovely to get some sort of update from the club on what's going on with Tommy Eisenhuth, the fact that he hasn't played a game at any level, but he isn't listed in the casualty ward. What's going on with him? He's still in our top 30, so we'd like to know what's happening.
Totally.
Having a nice meat pie. Well, I might go and have another meat pie. Go and have dinner somewhere with the.
Stuff your face in it, Donny.
That's it.
Who's having a meat pie?
Tolly.
Tolly Angel it is.
With tomato sauce?
Well, that was one of the criticisms I got from my video was that I didn't have tomato sauce on my pie. So I'll wear that.
Hey, you went through all the pie list, chilies, everything, curries. What do these people expect?
Oh,
Here's one
turmeric,
about
mate.
Hamish.
Turmeric will stain forever, mate. Stains everything.
Here's one about Hamish Stewart. Wayne Bennett tried to get into the Dolphins.
Well, I've got to go to dinner, so we'll wrap it up. Thank you once again to Matt Cooper, and we'll actually close out the show with some Matt Cooper highlights on YouTube. No Tuesday or Sunday shows this week with the bye. We will enjoy the week off and regroup. Get ready for a battle against Goliath in a fortnight. Keep your chin up. Come on, Dragons fans. Fire up.
Fire!
Salad, Bulldog, Boyd in, Cooper, stepping on the foot, Cooper has made the line. Now that Sarah's has got a point. Here's Cooper, winning it over. Try time again, the Dragons. Cooper goes over, there's the combination. Side by side, gets the Cooper scores. There you go. Slowly, a shot, Cooper! Straight past the Frankie! Right now to Morris. Morris around the back and that's all right. He's over the line. Trouble brewing. Cooper's in. Just like that, Matt Cooper. He slices through. Morris is away. Here comes the try. And Cooper will get a double. Second for the day. And then was Mr. Hornby. And chips towards Dino. Coming down at the back for Cooper. This will be a try to the Dragons. They'll reassume the lead. And it is Cooper from dummy half in score. He comes to Minu. He gets away from him, knocked down by Canterbury. Cooper will score. Cooper scores for the Dragons.
Coco is at Pennell's heart, she wears it on her sleeve. As Mustard tells tales of dragons, wins and tuna victory. Tony and the MD crew will do their very best, hitting up topic and I digress with a red V on our chest. The Mad Dragon podcast is a sheep of camaraderie, navigating rants down rabbit holes in the land of the big wet feet. And so at Pennell's we the tales and our cruise ship is our dream. The Mad Dragon podcast.